My friend Natalie Marie Bollinger. Well, her daddy kept his nasty cockbeaters to himself. But Natalie just wanted to be loved the right way. Her mother did not love her the right way. Her father did not love her the right way, and her sister certainly did not love her the right way. God bless America and all that. What makes Alycia Michelle Bollinger worse than a pedophile? Is it just the fact that she helps them to get away? No. Alycia Bollinger did horrible shit and then played victim, and a lot of people harmed me over it. And then those people, in turn, wanted to play victim when they got busted. Every single one of you who's pissed off that you're recorded on my goddamn YouTube channel, you can thank Alycia Michelle Bollinger for it. I don't like predators. And I don't care what gender you are, a predator is a predator. When you lie about somebody because you're embarrassed, and that person is harmed because you lied, you're not a fucking victim. Alycia Michelle Bollinger and her friends took part in the harassment and bullying in real life and on the internet, both before and after Natalie was killed. When I let Natalie, Alycia, and Maddie know that I was being harmed over their lies, they pretended I was stalking them. And while the evidence shows that they pretended, none of you actually want to take a look at actual evidence, do you? Alycia Michelle Bollinger is a disgusting excuse for a human being. Matter of fact, I can't even consider her a human being. Do you know why? Because she has absolutely no remorse for what she's done. She manipulated other people into harming me because she was fucking embarrassed. Because her and her sister were fighting over a boy. Now, who's the boy they were fighting over? I don't think it fucking matters. What really matters here is that they victimized the shit out of me for it. Poor you, you got fucking embarrassed. That's probably the best thing about being autistic. I don't get embarrassed. I don't have the luxury of embarrassment, however. Because I have to do something. What, you expect me to just say thank you to everybody who assaults me? Does Alycia Bollinger care that to this day I am still harmed because she's a dumb whore? Now I say dumb because she isn't intelligent enough to realize that there are consequences. And she's a whore. Well, that's obvious there, isn't it? She's a drug addict. How dare I call drug addicts whores, right? Well, that depends on the drugs and what they're willing to do for them. When you have sex with your own father for drugs, that's pretty fucking disgusting. Incest is disgusting. Now, every time that Alycia Bollinger does something stupid, I get another influx of nasty cockfucks threatening to kill me and my friends and family again. Now, if I have any reaction whatsoever, I'm a horrible person, aren't I? Go fuck yourselves. That's fucking insane. Oh, but she's pretty, so that matters, right? If she's pretty, it makes it okay to do whatever she wants. If she's pretty, it's okay to have people physically harmed. To this day, I have literally never, ever been allowed to face my accusers. The cops and courts have broken the law at every juncture to make sure that my words are not heard by the courts. The media has gone out of their way at every juncture to make sure that my words are not heard. And more importantly, that my evidence is not seen. Now, I want you to take a look at Alycia Bollinger. Her eyes are too far apart, ain't they? I get made fun of a lot, but she can take some of that. We're supposed to feel sorry for druggy whores who take advantage of us, aren't we? We're supposed to feel sorry for them because it's so tough getting free shit all the goddamn time. My problem before Natalie died was that I didn't have the abilities that they had. I didn't have family or friends who gave a shit. I had family and friends who took advantage of me. And while Natalie and Alycia's friends and family wanted to threaten, harass, intimidate, and assault me for over a year before she was fucking killed, I literally assaulted nobody. And although I threatened to retaliate, nope, it wasn't a threat, was it? I did retaliate. See, while these assholes wanted to lie and get physically violent, all I did was tell the truth. Oh, wait a second. I didn't just tell the truth, did I? I showed the truth. The Bollingers had every opportunity to knock this shit off before Natalie was killed. The police and mental health in Colorado and Nebraska had every opportunity to put a stop to this before Natalie was killed. My friends had every opportunity to put a stop to this before Natalie was killed. So do I feel sorry for these pieces of shit? No. It's not my place to have remorse for your wrongdoings. Alycia Michelle Bollinger could have told the truth at any point in time. See, while I'm being abused over lies, and every time her and her dad fuck up, I have to go through more of this. You know what the picture on the front of this came from? A missing persons poster from the stupid Snatch. You don't like the word snatch? It means to grab, to pull, to pilfer, generally in a quick fashion. When a woman does something wrong, it's a lot different than a man. Same thing with competition between women and men. When a man is in competition with another man, most generally, What'll he do? He'll try to improve himself, increase his standing. What does a woman do when she's in competition with another woman? She'll trash talk that other woman. She'll do the same thing to a man if she doesn't get what she wants. But one thing through all of this, Michelle Bollinger has never, not even once, accused me of raping her, molesting her, physically assaulting her, sexually assaulting her. I mean, literally, there is nothing there. Instead, Michelle Bollinger had her friends and family insinuate, and those insinuations are good enough, aren't they? Will I ever get my hands on Michelle Bollinger? Fuck no, I don't want to touch the nasty whore. I don't want that shit that she's got. She fucking shoots up. Are you fucking kidding me? Gross. She had sex with her own dad. Ugh, gross. And she gets off scot-free. Every time, doesn't she? When she went on a high-speed chase through 2 different states, Oklahoma and Kansas, did people go after her father, or did they come after me? Someone calling themselves Possum the Appalachian typed, "Hello from West Virginia." Hello, West Virginia. Last time I was in Virginia was in October of 2019. Last time I was in Virginia was October 17th of 2019, just a day before my birthday. The last time I saw Michelle Bollinger was October 18th, 2016 in Virginia. What's the difference between Virginia and West Virginia? Possum the Appalachian type, we got a little snow the day before yesterday. Well, that's one difference. How rare is it to get snow there? It's very rare in Virginia. It's not as rare in West Virginia. Still pretty rare compared to Nebraska. Now let's talk about Michelle Bollinger for a minute. Michelle Bollinger was my best friend. You can see the messages between me and Michelle Bollinger, as well as the ones between me and Michelle Bollinger. One moment while I use my cigarette to burn off a wild hair on my eyebrow, because it's shining and annoying. Alright. Now the messages between us show that we were in fact and indeed friends in Virginia, and before. The evidence from Natalie and Alicia's own words show that I did in fact and indeed try to scare them off as kids. They were hanging out with the junkies, and they shouldn't have been there. Officer Abel Ramos told me that they have as much of a right to be there as I do, and that's true. But it also makes it bad for all homeless people when you don't control your children. And by controlling them, I don't mean controlling every aspect of their life. I mean making sure that they're not in dangerous places, and even in Pearl Street, Boulder, Colorado, it's a dangerous place to hang out with homeless people, especially as a child. It's also dangerous for all homeless people. When you pretend that you were stalked because you were embarrassed, because you were angry, why were you angry? Because you were embarrassed. Or because you didn't want to get in trouble and somebody told on you. So what do you do when somebody tells on you? What have we taught women to do? The same thing that we've taught them to do when they're in competition with another woman. Slander, slander, slander. God bless America, right? My favorite thing about Virginia, as far as the state itself goes, is all the trees and all the blackberries. My favorite part about Washington State, all the trees and all the blackberries. My favorite part about Oregon, all the trees and all the blackberries. I love blackberries. There's all the blackberries you can eat here. Virginia, too. Possum, the Appalachian type. I've always wanted to see Washington. I bet it's beautiful there. Oh, it is. And Mount Rainier, it is a gorgeous mountain. I mean, you can see it from downtown Tacoma. You can see it from Lincoln High School in Tacoma, Washington. There's even a little town on top of it called Paradise. Possum, the Appalachian type. I make blackberry cobblers. Yes, cobblers are the best pie. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a real big fan of the doughy crust. And with a cobbler, you don't have to worry about that. It's just crispy enough on top. Gives it a bit of texture. I love cobbler. In a place like this, or a place like Virginia, you can do that. I've had about enough of this woke bullshit. I fought for black people's rights. Black people shat on me for it. I fought for women's rights. Women shat on me for it. I fought for the rights of disabled people. Did disabled people shit all over me for it? No. No, they didn't. By law, what are you supposed to do if a disabled person is being harmed? Depends on where you're at, right? Well, if you want to do whatever you want to them, you just call them mentally ill. Nationwide, that gets over 1 million people killed every year because they're denied rights and denied resources. They're also railroaded by the courts. And every time they're railroaded by the courts, it reduces their chances of getting unhomeless. It reduces their chances of getting heard. Alycia Michelle Bollinger had all the help she could ever possibly want, whereas my friends, people that I had known for years, went out of their way to destroy any chance that I had of getting actual help at the very start. The most disgusting of these people is Candace Bondurant. Candace and I stopped being friends while I was visiting Natalie and Alycia in Virginia in 2016. This is because she had lied to me. And I'm not okay with that. After Natalie Bollinger was killed, she promised to do a lot of things. And then she wanted to throw those things in my face after taking them away. People did donate money to 2 GoFundMes. One of them started by Candace Bondurant, the Predator. And one of them started by Cara Rogers, a.k.a. Cara Mia, the predator. These are predators. These are women who knowingly, willingly, and intentionally took advantage of a disabled person for their own advantages. There's a lot of people that want me to be locked up for stealing a bunch of money from people, claiming that I ripped off people for thousands of dollars right after Natalie died with GoFundMes that I didn't have. Who started those GoFundMes? Candace Bondurant and Cara Rogers. Now, these women don't think that there should be consequences for them. They don't think that they should have to pay the piper because they're women. Well, okay. If you're beaten by your husband, I feel bad for you. If you go back and get beaten a second time, I feel bad for him. And anybody else that you went to for help. Because you're just going to keep going back. Now, I feel bad for you if you're beaten by your husband. But do you feel bad when people are beaten over you? See, if you're assaulted, I feel bad for you and I want to turn it in. When I'm assaulted, you just talk over me or try to convince me that I deserve it, that I wanted it, that I chose it. It's my fault that I was abused because I spoke up. Well, excuse me, says I. But if I'm not being abused, I don't have to speak up about the abuse. There's a lot of people who encouraged me to keep speaking up. These people also promised to help me how I needed. And when they didn't, and I was harmed, they didn't want consequences. Between being honest and going out of her way to paint me as some sort of a horrible monster because I curse, well, Candace Bondurant chose to be a stupid cunt. She chose to blame me for decisions that she made. It's my fault that she gave away a bunch of money to meth addicts in Colorado. I didn't tell her to give McDonald's cards to... Well, his real name is Rick, but he goes by Shadow. Did I make her spend $50 on McDonald's cards to give to drug addicts? No, I didn't. Did she throw that in my face as if she was helping me? Absolutely she did. We've taught women that it's okay for them to lie. Because they have it worse than men. No, you don't. Even if you are busted red-handed, as a teacher, having sex with a minor, your average sentence is only going to be 8 months. What's the average sentence for a male in that situation? Between 16 and 40 years, depending on where you're at. I get treated like a murderer, but I've never murdered anybody, never killed anybody, never attempted to kill anybody, never been charged with any of those things. I'm treated like a rapist. Meanwhile, I'm disgusted by sex. I've never, ever been charged with a sexual crime. Do you know why? Because I'm grossed out by sex. This isn't complicated. Why is it that I have literally never been charged with any form of child abuse? Well, that would happen to be because, unlike you, I'm willing to go to prison to protect children. I'm willing to go to jail to protect children. And those aren't empty words. I've been to 11 jails and 2 prisons for protecting children. Guess what? The charges against me were dropped every single time. Every single time. Now, what do these women who want to manipulate me after they've taken advantage of me, what do they want to do? They want to hide behind their kids. This is all children exist as to women in this country. An excuse to do wrong. These very same women will pretend to be Christian in Jesus' name and all of that. It's pretty gross. We've got actual sexual predators. I am in Oregon, for Christ's sake. Per capita, there are more sex offenders in Oregon than any other state in the Union. Imagine that. Now let's talk about incest. Alycia Bollinger's father did some pretty abhorrent things. But apparently, raping your own daughter is better than telling the truth, isn't it? Alycia Michelle Bollinger helped her predators and her sister's predators get away because she didn't want to tell the truth. She wanted to hide behind others. The things that her mother did, and her grandmother, and her father, 2 of her ex-stepmothers, as well as Officer Burke and many others. The crimes that they committed against me were all because Alycia Michelle Bollinger and Natalie Marie Bollinger didn't want to tell the truth. Yes, they outright lied. Yes, the evidence shows that plainly and clearly. But it's not popular, is it? It's not popular to tell the truth. Y'all don't ask me questions because you care about the answer. You ask me questions because you're expected to. It's called small talk, chit-chat. And people who are autistic tend to try to move away from that kind of bullshit, and people who are like that. But when we're victimized, and we move, and we're victimized wherever we move to, eventually you have to make a stand. The problem is when you've got rotten law enforcement, and you've got the bias that the American people hold, the hatred of the homeless, the hatred of whites, the hatred of men. Meanwhile, the downfall of our society is what? Affirmative action. Special rights. If you are harmed in the United States as a male, you have to be afraid to call the cops because of bias. You have the dick, so more than likely you're going to be the one arrested because you have a dick. You can be battered, bloody, and bruised, and her not have a mark on her, but she claims that you're an abuser. You're going to jail. A jury doesn't give a fuck about you. You got a dick. God bless America. I've got a lot of predators that I've had to deal with. The majority of those predators are not people like Andrew Wolnez. They're people like Officer Trent Olson. People like Deputy Mike Reeves. That's here in Tillamook. People like Sheriff Scott DaCosta, Deputy Hahn, Deputy Selhorst, Deputy Anderson of Chapel, Nebraska. It's Dual County Sheriff's Department. The worst predators that I've had to deal with are police officers, public pretenders, and therapists. They send you on a magic carpet ride of shit that doesn't do any good. As a disabled person who has to live on a fixed income, these people know exactly what they're doing. They're depriving me of funds. They're depriving me of my disability money by forcing me to run around in circles and ignoring every single crime against me until I have to scream and curse and shout. And then I'm a horrible person for doing these things. Fuck the police. Alycia Michelle Bollinger's face and name is now going to replace Andrew Wolnez in most of my videos. We'll be posting up picture after picture after picture after picture of Alycia Michelle Bollinger. Those of you who have drugs, well, that'll give you a target easy, right? You know she's a junkie. You know if you got the drugs, she'll spread her legs. You also know that if you sexually assault her, she's still going to come back because she wants those drugs. Now, is that the reason for me posting this up? No, the reason for me posting this up is because she's my predator. And so are her family. Everyone, regardless of gender, regardless of religion, regardless of finances, should be allowed an honest day in court. They should be allowed to face their accusers. But my predators called me mentally ill, and magically, it's okay to victimize me over and over and over again. Fuck you. Alycia Michelle Bollinger is a disgusting excuse for a human being. Same thing with Maddie Boa. Natalie and Alicia's jealousy issues between each other never should have resulted in me being harmed. I didn't want to get caught up in that shit. I just didn't want Natalie to fucking kill herself over her family being fucking shitty. Much like Natalie, I always wanted my family to love me too. I also knew better. Does Alycia Bollinger care how many times I've been assaulted for raping her and her sister, for molesting her and her sister, for murdering her and her sister? Meanwhile, I didn't do any of these things to either one of them. When I got a hold of them, I didn't get a hold of them to threaten to kill them, like their friends were doing to me. I didn't get a hold of them to threaten to kill them or their friends and family. I got a hold of them because I was being harmed. People were actually threatening to kill me, actually threatening to kill my friends, actually threatening to kill my family. People like Tim the Bitch Boy Beeson. To this day, Alycia Michelle Bollinger could still come forward and admit that her and I did not have a sexual relationship, didn't have sex. There was no unconsensual touching of any sort. She could admit that that busted-ass phone that created this problem to begin with, that she bullied me into taking it. Now, you guys may not think of it as bullying, but the thing is, she was overstepping her boundaries and overstepping mine. I didn't want a new goddamn phone. I was fine with the one that I had. She wanted to change over the number onto this Cricket phone that she had, this HTC phone that used to be Natalie's. And that's what she did. And I didn't get to see how broken that phone was until she'd already committed to such damage. Took over 2 hours. And after it was all said and done, she quit her job. Now, I'd like to know, when did I supposedly stay behind Natalie's work for weeks? Natalie outright lied to all of you dumbasses. And you've harmed me for 7 goddamn years over it. And you don't care how it affects me, neither do the goddamn cops. What they care about is that I'm a hobo, so I'm an easy person to railroad. Fuck all of you. How do you become worse than a pedophile? How do you become worse than somebody who fucks their own child? Well, you help those predators to get away. You victimize their victims. Alycia Bollinger is a horrible excuse for a human being, and to this day, she is still a horrible excuse for a human being. Fuck all of you who look away. And those of you who take part in this, it doesn't get more disgusting than you. These people, these drug addicts, manipulators, and abusers, all they had to do was play on your bias, and you've harmed me for 7 years over it. I have a dick, so I must be a predator. I'm white, so I must be a slave owner. Do you fucking hear yourselves? There will never be a day that I don't speak up. Ever. I spoke up every single day that I was locked up. And I speak up every single day not locked up. And I'm going to continue speaking up until the day that I die. You want to shut me up? You're going to have to actually come here and put me in the ground. Tim, the Bitch Boy Beeson. Fuck all of you. When you guys break the law, intentionally harming a person who did nothing to you, you show what kind of sick son of a bitches you are. And then when you play victim because you got busted, oh hell no, I ain't standing for that. Not from any of you. My phone's almost dead, so go fuck yourselves. I'm gonna go charge the sumbitch up. And I'll be back to make another video about Alycia Michelle Bollinger, the predator.